Morning everyone. Stella is just recovering from a bout of the zoomies. Stella's our shop dog. She's been with us for 7 years. She's a good little puppy. She loves going for rides in cars, project cars, customer cars, all the little cars. She looks so cute, and she hates being filmed, which is really funny. She always looks aloof when she's filmed. What are we doing today? This is the two-stroke turbo channel. We're not working on a two-stroke car today. We've got a couple of neat things we're working on. We got a little bit of flex time today to work on our own personal projects. One is an electric bike, a folding electric bike, which is pretty cool. And then also, probably more importantly, is our old Singer. The alternator is giving me issues. I think we talked about this once before. It has a Bosch, I believe it to be a Bosch alternator. It's laying down in here. I had to take off one of the carburetors. It has dual carburetors to get access to the alternator. And the more I look at it, the more it looks pretty janky. I don't even know how it was working. It really wasn't working. I'd have to charge the battery about every 3 weeks because the Bosch alternator would not charge well through our brand new Chrysler voltage regulator. I was getting maybe at 11.9 volts, which is not enough. So I have a new mini frame Japanese alternator, those really small ones go down here. I love those things. And I'm trying to figure out if I should keep the alternator on this side, move it to the other side, or what. There's a lot of heat on this side. You can see that I have covered my exhaust header with tinfoil, which smells really good if you happen to have barbecue chicken the night before you use the tinfoil. I was like, where's that great smelling barbecue? Somebody's having a barbecue in this neighborhood. This is my own tinfoil cooking. But it gets really hot here. Not only does it heat the alternator, it heats the carburetors and, more importantly, the air intake that goes into the engine. It's just a cyclical thing of heating up what you don't want. So I'm thinking about moving the alternator to the other side. There's a little more room over there, but I don't know if there's any brackets that will work, so I'm gonna have to custom make something. Anyhow, we got to get this old alternator out. I'm trying to get it out. It actually barely, I don't know, it doesn't fit out here. I don't know how it got in here, but I think I've got to get this bracket out of the way. So here we go, working on personal stuff. So here is my little mini frame alternator. It's a cool little unit. I think I can put it right there. It'll line up with the pulleys right. It doesn't interfere with the spark plug too bad, and it's much cooler on this side. I think that's what I'm going to do. I got to make some brackets for it. I just don't like it having over there by so much heat, and if I ever decide to put a turbo on this thing, I need the room over there for that, and I think this is the way to go. This is the two-stroke turbo channel, right? It's a four-stroke engine, but could be a turbo in our future, maybe. Okay, so we struggled with getting the alternator in this little space, but I think we got it. I have a mini frame Denso alternator. It's up against the valve cover, so I need a little shorter belt so I can rotate it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to work on the wiring, but I moved it to the driver's side of the car just to avoid the heat and the hassle. As you can see, everything is just jammed in here, and I created this big huge open space. I'm going to make a heat shield, I think, a better one, instead of my tin foil wrap on my exhaust header, and I'll put my carburetor back on and run some wires, and I take this off, the old electronic, actually it's not electronic, it's points type voltage regulator. I'll have an electronic regulator, and then run the new wires, and I should be good, I hope. So I'm going to run the new positive cable to the battery, the new trigger probably from this, and let's see. Okay, so we have our one wire mini frame alternator installed in our Singer Roadster. I do have too long of a belt. You can see the alternator's frame is all the way up against the valve cover. I have no more adjustment. I'm waiting for a 1-inch smaller belt, so it'll probably squeal when I turn on. Even though it is a one wire alternator, the power wire is here and the trigger wire is this little green guy, and I've tidied up all the wiring. It goes over to the battery with a nice big fat cable. I think that's 8 gauge, something like that, and we can probably fire it up and try it out, although I know It's going to try to charge the battery if it does work, and it's going to squeak a little bit. That's okay. Let's try it. Also got my carburetors back together, and if you look down in there, I created another heat shield. Well, I had all that apart. There's so much heat that comes off that exhaust header that it basically cooks or warms the air that goes into the carburetors for combustion air. And we do have the fan that blows air back here too, but I wanted to get some cooler air to the carburetors. I should have put another heat shield here to keep the air from the fan from blowing, but I at least got that in there while I had it apart. And look at how much room I can get my hand down in there now for other things. So let's fire this up. Just turn her on. And what do we got for voltage? We've got 12 volts. He's running. Yeah. I knew my alternator belt was too loose. That means it's working. And you can see it's already above 12 volts. Let's turn this off. That's much better than it ever has been. It's always been to the lower part of the green. So I think I'm going to have 14 volts once I get a tighter belt. That's pretty nice. I'll be very excited to be able to run my headlights. Every time I stopped at a stoplight, my brake lights came on, the voltage would go. That alternator was awful. So I took out this big old clunky heavy alternator, all this janky wiring, the old voltage regulator, and all the brackets that went with that. I probably saved 20 pounds off the nose of the car. So I'm hoping that helps. All right, let's get a shorter belt on there and try it out.